We are still admitting people, so I think once it just slows down a bit more, we will officially get started.
Mhm.
All right, I think it slowed down, which is good enough for me. Good morning, all, and welcome. My name is Victoria Hamilton. I am one of the senior account managers at Dodge Construction Network. You will hear the words Blue Book a lot today in the presentation. Just please, if you are just a Dodge only customer, just know that Blue Book is one of our products in our suite of brands. Joining me today is Mo, who is the estimating extraordinaire at Westrack Contracting and Core Concepts Contracting. Just some background information. Westrack is a national general contractor. They have a combined 50 years experience. They've been in business for 30 years. They work in more than 25 states, have national clients. Core Concepts Contracting is their sister company, also a general contracting company. Both are located in Long Island, New York. And Core Concepts Contracting was just recently certified as a WBE through WeBank, which is the Women Business Enterprise National Council. As I said, Mo is joining us today to do the presentation, although you'll notice that we talk a lot about moving from residential to commercial. Even for those of you who are not recently making a move from residential to commercial, there is a lot of really in-depth information here. Mo has put together a fantastic deck for us. 15 years, almost 16 years in the business, and I learned quite a bit, lots of details, everything you can think of to master commercial bidding. So without further ado, Mo, please get us
Yes.
started on mastering commercial bidding. And
Yes.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for doing this.
Thank you again, Ms. Victoria, for the event. It's one of the many events that we are proactive in. Thank you very much for the Dodge Network for coordinating that webinar with us. So to start, to give a background, I'm an estimator. I have been working with Westrack and Core Concepts, and I also have worked also on public projects as well. So we hope that this webinar is helpful to everybody, and we'll get started right away. So we're gonna give hopefully a good roadmap and a guide to getting GC contracts and how do you make the switch. So I apologize if I'm going fast. You can let me know, but we're gonna go through the pages, and if there is any questions, please drop it in the chat. One of the main things that I wanted to speak about is, and like Ms. Victoria said, Blue Book and Dodge, same company. One of the things that we wanted to speak about, actually starting this, is our ProView. So our ProView, it's how the companies look at our profile on the Blue Book. And we advise everyone, because it is a part of our qualification, actually. Part of the qualification that we do with subcontractors is we look them up using the Blue Book. And as you can see in our ProView account on the Blue Book and Dodge, what we have is the company, our story, what exactly we've been doing, the featured projects and what we do. And of course, Ms. Victoria helped us to put this together. And over the years, this has been actually very, very helpful on saying who we are, what do we do, what's our expertise, and what we're comfortable with. So this is something that, based on what we see here, something that is underrated, but it's something that's very, very important. So I wanted to share with everybody first our ProView account and how we divided everything when it came to experience, the commercial sectors that we try to do, and it helps owners and trade contractors too. And here We have our service areas, exactly the service area that we entail, as well as, of course, the ratings. From our experience, again, with Ms. Victoria, this pro view is very, very important because, as you can see here, it gives a complete picture about the company. So we, of course, advise that you use it as much as you can. So this is a quick overview. Now we're gonna start jumping into the real stuff. So what we're gonna go over today is the introduction, understanding the landscape, and a step-by-step guide, and then the pre-qualifying costs and how we pre-qualify subcontractors, and of course, navigating unforeseen costs and contingencies. So to start our webinar, if we're in this stage, then we are hopefully making a transition from residential to commercial. And this, of course, has a lot of key differences. The technical experience usually carries from the residential world to the commercial world. What doesn't apply most of the time is the business practices. So we have to understand that scale and complexity, bigger projects involve more trades, involve more coordination between a lot of layers of people, and we're gonna get into that. The documentation requirements from insurances, from photos, daily logs, submittals, the documentation requirements become much, much more extensive. The payment terms differ immensely from a residential world to a commercial world. And of course, depending on the commercial work that you're chasing, if it's public or private, that has its own laws, certified payroll, if you're going for Davis-Bacon or prevailing wage work. So the goal today is to break down the process, know exactly what GCs and owners and architects expect from you in a proposal. We'll try to build some confidence in the cost estimation techniques to see if we can hopefully help, and then prepare for challenges, and hopefully this will help you win more work. And one of the key insights that I wanted to mention early on is the difference between winning and losing, especially commercial bids, isn't usually the price. It's everything from how professional you are, how responsive you are, how experienced you are within the trade, and hopefully, this will help you excel in all three. So in your journey from residential to commercial, as we spoke about, that technical skills, they transfer 100%, but the business practices, they differ. In the residential world, we are used to two things. Lowest price gets the project, and then I can figure it as I go because I can work on multiple trades. Commercial projects, they move fast, and mistakes in your bid could haunt you for months, even more. So hopefully, if you're ready for commercial work, before we dive in, we need to understand that insurance is something that all of the GCs want to see. Typically, they want to see 1 to 2 million on the GL for the low risk trades, for example, flooring, and then they want to see 3 to 5 on the higher risk trades, which is electrical, demo, differs from a trade to a trade. And most of the time, the GCs, they specifically ask on what exactly they're looking for. And also, if you're ready, we have two bonding capacity, and then the payment cycles and the cash cycles differ immensely. And you have to know that it comes also with an administrative team. Obviously, you need an admin, accounting, you need an estimator, you need a bigger team, I would say. That's on the administrative side, and we're gonna also speak about manpower as we move forward, and then experience within your specific trade and references from past projects. And we were, with the pro view that we were mentioning in the beginning, you saw that we referenced almost every project. And this is something very important. And I always say that reference projects, residential, commercial, that's why documentation is very important. So in this page, we're going to cover the commercial landscape. In the residential world, it's usually a direct relationship between owner and then general contractor. In the commercial world, it's different. You have an owner, an architect, and an engineer, a GC, and then you have other subcontractors and suppliers and vendors. The most important thing from what we can see here is what do they want from you? The owner wants quality work on schedule, no surprises. The architect wants to know and to make sure that everything is following his spec book and his drawings, everything from product requirements to submittals is following what he wants. The general contractor, he coordinates between all of these roles and he wants reliable performance, accurate pricing, and minimal issues, of course. And then suppliers, and this is something that we're going to speak about also later on, suppliers are and vendors are very, very important, and it's key for anybody who wants to grow in the business. And this we'll speak on later, but what they want from you is a good takeoff, clear specifications, and of course, prompt uh, payment time. In this page, we're gonna speak about how does general contractors select GCs. There is more than 30 reasons, but from a pre-construction point of view, or what I can speak about is the five reasons I see most of the time uh, when work gets awarded is your price, your reliability, financial stability, safety record, and current workload. So, for example, on the reliability and track record, if I, for example, I want to work with a new contractor, for example, and I want to look them up. What would do? I would go on the Blue Book. I would look them up to see what projects they've worked on, how many years they've been in business, and see, okay, now I can start pre-qualifying them. And we're going to speak about how you pre-qualify. The financial stability, it some GCs, and this is not something we typically do, but like I said, this is a webinar in general to help everybody. So some GCs would actually check your bonding capacity if the project requires a bond. They would actually speak to other GCs and they would also know if there is any cash flow gaps or anything like that. And obviously the workload. The workload is something very important. If a subcontractor or a GC he has more than 300 men, for example, on the field, and all of them are booked, then obviously it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to get the work. You would want to give it to somebody who needs the work, for example. Um, and then on the bid documents, now this is something very important. And this is one of the things we spoke about earlier, which is document management, and this ties to the bid documents. On commercial projects, you'll find that the amount of documentation is a lot. Between plans and drawings, between a 900-page spec book, between bid instructions that change depending on what the owner want, meaning that, for example, if you have to include Saturday, Sunday in your bid, that's a bid instruction. If you have to bid it a certain way with certain breakouts, that's also part of the instructions. Addendums. You're gonna find that a project can have 9 addendums, 10 addendums, and you're gonna have to keep track of all of that. Uh, they and all of that, of course, helps you in your bidding process. The RFIs, uh, how to answer the bidder questions, how to ask the questions to the owners, the architects, how to keep track of all of that. And the main goal behind all of this is that you can risk mitigate as much as possible. And critical warning, never, ever, ever bid a commercial project without thoroughly reviewing every single document. Missing one addendum, one RFI can result in significant losses. Create the checklist. Uh, it's a good practice. Create a checklist. It could be a template, and make that the thing that you're working on. Um, right, right now we're going to speak about the delivery methods. We have two systems. We have more than the two systems, but the two systems, or the two most famous systems, I would say, the more traditional system, which is the design bid build. It's when an owner bids out a project. And then we have design build. Design build is when you have a design team composed of an architect, mechanical engineer, whatever the case may be, that that does everything in-house, and they bid the work that way to the owner directly. And of course, there is a lot of differences between both. The more traditional method is the design bid build. Public projects, not all of them, but most of them are design bid build. Of course, this is changing right now. There's a lot of public projects that does have CMs, or that does do design build. Um, so now in the step-by-step guide on how to bid to GCs to ensure that you are adding more to your time and you're not wasting your time, we are splitting this into phases. So the first phase I call the pre-bid qualification. So before you invest any time in an estimate, you want to obviously qualify yourself. So there is a few ways to do that. There is a lot of GCs right now that you can go on their website and you can pre-qualify yourself. And from that, you would be on their bid list. So any project that they are bidding, you will get the invitation for it. So before you invest a lot of time bidding the project, you can pre-qualify yourself. Make sure that you're pre-qualified. So if it does come to you, that everything is good to go. You don't want to invest your time doing an estimate and then later down the line, months down the line, oh, I'm sorry, the insurances wouldn't work, or you were missing that in as a part of the qualification. That's why you didn't get it. So you want to make sure that you're covered on that end before you actually start bidding. And the same way that we were speaking about how GCs try to do the background on the subcontractors, we say do the same. When there is an invitation, you reviewed all of the drawings, you made sure that this is something that fits you, and it's something that you're very experienced with. Okay, who's the GC? Do the same thing. Research their payment history. What's their reputation? What type of projects they're doing? Is this a public or a private job? Is this prevailing wage? Is this prevailing wage? Is this in a school? So do I have to assume things for that? All of that, it's very, very important. What's the timeline? Can I do this project with that timeline? What if an owner is, for example, is asking for a project to be done or a GC asking to be done in a project 1 month, and I think it takes 2 months? What should I do there? Should I accelerate schedule, add more manpower, add contingency, or should I maybe better off not bidding the work or chasing other work? If there is bonding capacity, do you have it? And then if it's feasible for your operation. The factors to consider, and this is again, this is just advice. I'm sure everybody here is 100% aware of all of these things, but could you self-perform 75% of the work? Do you have enough manpower? Is that project within your normal territory, or do I have to go out because it's a bigger scope and I need the work? Check the references and the legal history if possible, and then ask for scopes. Usually, most of the GCs, if not all of them, they have scopes of work pretty much ready before, for example, the bid. You can ask whether it's the estimator or the PM, is there a sample of contract? Is there a scope? Is there something that I can check what I've been working on with? And then phase two is bid preparation. And this is something that is very underrated that we see in the business all the time. Uh, Pre-construction and bidding is almost, when it comes to the commercial space, it's almost as intensive as not as construction, but as some parts to it. Assemble your team. You have an estimator. He's going to do the takeoffs. He's going to call the suppliers. He's going to call the vendors. He's going to get you the pricing. He's going to look at the plans and do all of that. If if you have a supervisor, if you have a superintendent, he's going to give you constructability means and methods. He could speak to the estimator, be like, well, you can do this in a quicker manner if you change that type of material. Administrative, they handle the forms, the insurance certificates, they pre-qualify sometimes. And this is something that we try to have, and I think it's a good practice that you create a bid schedule. It's good if you bid a lot of work, but it's good if you bid a lot of quality work. And doing that, you need to have a schedule. When should I, 14 days out? Okay, I downloaded, I organized my documents, I know each spec, I know exactly what to do. If there is a pre-bid meeting, please attend. It's so important. Not only the pre-bid meetings, but also the events and the webinars. All of these things are important. The last event actually that we've had with Dodge, we ended up working with two of the subcontractors there. We just started working with them. So these things are very, very important. Um, do your takeoff 7 days out. After you do your takeoff, once you're doing it, RFIs, send it to the GC or the owner and or the architect. And this shows just you RFIing early on, 7 days out. This shows, first of all, a deep understanding of the project. It shows interest in the project that you're working on. After that, you calculate your labor based on the available manpower. You review it with your team, you prepare your final proposal, and then you submit. So a few practices for takeoffs. I'm very old school. I started doing takeoffs only by hand, and it took years for me to go into softwares and all of that. So for takeoff practices, actually, we spoke about that earlier, which also one of the tools that Dodge has, it's View 360, which is a takeoff software that comes with your Dodge network. You can download that and you can do your takeoffs on it. But what a takeoff software helps you with, it's consistent. You have a consistent measurement system. You reference every quantity with every detail because the commercial cycle, it might span a little bit longer. So the proposal could start from, let's say, point one, and it could go through an estimator, a super, a owner, until it goes to a PM. So from this point to this point, you need to make sure that every quantity is double checked. Every reference from every detail that you can think of is there. And of course, waste factors as it applies if it's concrete, masonry, but it's definitely a good practice. Proposal preparation, and this is something that we've seen. There's a difference, and we're gonna speak about that later on. But there's a difference between a good proposal, a professional proposal, and there's a difference between not so good proposal. Your proposal must have a cover letter, your logo, because this is how you represent your company, yourself. You thank them for the opportunity. You first two lines, you confirm the project, the location, and then you speak about the plans that you've used to price this. Because, for example, and this is just an example, on a proposal, it says the plans are dated October 27, 2025. But there is an addendum that, for example, we sent out on November 1st. If I look at the proposal and I don't see that he used the November 1st plans for pricing, it's easier for me to go to him and be like, oh, we need to price it per this plan, so the pricing changes. So something like that, very, very simple, could help immensely. And we, of course, recommend you use a template. You won't do that for every and each project. You'll do that for like a template. You'll have a template and then it changes from a project to a project. Detail on your proposal, detail your scope of work, meaning is exactly what you're doing, reference the spec sections, reference the material that you're going to be using, reference the details, identify materials and methods, and also the pricing breakdown. It's something that usually owners ask GCs, and based on that, GCs, of course, ask everybody else. But depending on what project you're bidding, some GCs and some owners, they want specific breakdowns. So break it down if it's requested. If it's not requested, do not do that. As we were speaking about the proposal cycle, that it is a little bit longer in the commercial world and projects do take longer to kind of pick up. Ex Please, like, it's very, very good practice that you list any assumptions that you've made, any qualifications, scope clarifications, any scope clarifications that you want to say, and explicitly also say what's not included. I didn't include one, two, three, four. Um, and this helps in multiple areas. This protects you by all means. Nobody could say, oh, you've included one, two, three. If it's not documented, if it's not on paper, then it's nothing, especially in the commercial world. So once you give a proposal, make sure that this is all to protect yourself. And then, of course, if there is any attachments, a W-9 for or 505 form or any of the forms, then of course you send that. And some GCs, if they are one last thing, I apologize. Some GCs, if they are trying to introduce a new trades contractor or a new subcontractor, they will ask for references. So don't feel offended if a GC asks for references. That's fine. It's good. It's actually a good practice. Here in this page, we're gonna go over the examples of what's a bad proposal and what's a good proposal. So the bad proposal, in my point of view, is a Word doc or a PDF document or a Word document that has maybe one logo and maybe just one sentence saying install exterior stucco system per plans and specifications, prices 1, 2, 3. The problems with this proposal is a lot of them. While the price is accurate, the price is accurate, and he probably knows exactly what he does. And if you spoke to him on the phone, you'll find that everything's fine. But because of the cycle of the proposal that we spoke about, this doesn't help when it goes to a project manager's desk. There is no quantities, so I don't know what's the quantity that he has, and especially if he's lower or higher. There's no drawing references, and maybe I had an addendum or a revision to the drawing, so I don't know. There's no exclusions and no qualifications. He doesn't say what he is doing, and he's not saying what he's not doing. So it's in the commercial world, it's real. There is no time to there is no time for scope gaps, for to assume that somebody had something and then he doesn't have it. All of that comes into effect. A professional proposal, something that I believe most of the GCs would like to see, and if we have any today, that I would think that's the case, is they want to know on this professional proposal. That's my point of view, is furnish and install thin brick included. He's giving me the square footage. He's telling me the exact natural stone veneer, which he took from the finish schedule on the exact elevations. He's telling me what is the product, the color of the product, the thickness, and he's telling me also the lead time. And on this project, the owner wanted a breakout on the material and labor. So he gave me breakout on material and labor. Sorry, what?
714,
It's okay. Someone did mute themselves, so I'll go
Sorry,
ahead and do
sorry.
that, Mo.
I thought
Just
I got a
sorry.
question. No, I
No
thought,
worries.
sorry,
No worries.
sorry.
Hey, and you know what, Mo? Let me just look them up and mute them while they're talking. Sorry about that.
No,
Go
it's
on.
completely fine.
the
We'll
lead of the
continue.
text, so I don't have it.
Hi, one
Maybe
of
just
you
go on the
isn't
back
muted.
screen.
Please mute your mic. We love you and we love that you're doing business, but it's distracting. Thank you.
That's fine. So, sorry about that, and thank you everybody for taking the time. And if I'm going too fast, Miss Victoria, please let me know if we need to look at something. That's completely fine, or if we need to repeat something.
Sure. No, you
Um,
bet. Thanks.
Thank you. So, this proposal wins because he has everything, exact quantities, breakouts, the exact thing that a GC would like to see. And most of the owners, what we're seeing right now, there is a trend, of course, but most of the owners, they do require a schedule with your proposal. So we would go to to all of the trade contractors and we would ask them for lead time. So these things, of course, are very, very helpful. You finished phase one, two, three successfully. So the hard part is done. What should I do afterwards? Okay, follow up. Your work doesn't end. You submitted a proposal, work doesn't end there. This is just the start. A professional follow-up can make an immense difference. So if we're talking about it from a trades contractor point of view, if we're doing a design build bid build method and I'm bidding work with three GCs on the same project. Once I submitted my proposal, I wait a week or two, and then I have to understand, I have to figure out a way to know if I'm in the running or not, if I'm being considered or not. This is key because what you want to do is you want to understand that you want to be considered so you don't waste more time. So you understand, okay, for the future, I know exactly what to do or how to bid it. And the feedback is very, very helpful for you. And we're going to speak about that later on. Be available to discuss scope. So, for example, I bid at the project, I waited a week, I called the GC, I wanted to know whether I'm in the running or not, and then I'm asking it, am I missing any scope? Is there any scope that I should add? I it's not a good practice to speak about numbers, not a good practice to speak about like we said in the beginning, the price isn't the deciding factor. It's way more than that. So be prepared to explain inclusions, exclusions, and never be like, if an estimator or a PM or a executive calls to ask scope questions, never feel offended or defensive about questions. It's good practice for both for every party involved. And of course, we try to say that all the time to help everybody. Remember, never reduce price without reducing scope. This is all about your protection, and this is all about growing your business. The way that you grow your business is we try to say don't underbid work. Don't try to just get the work so you can get the work. If you're going to reduce price, that comes with scope. Well, what else could be done? And it's actually very, very something that's very good that actually helps you with GCs all the time is value engineering alternatives. Because not only that you're helping the cost of the overall project, but you're showing that you have a deep understanding of what you're doing. So, for example, I'm looking at a mechanical drawings. It's specing, I don't want to say brand names, but we'll say train, for example. And I know as a mechanical contractor that I can get the same units, same spec, I can match everything with uh, a different company and have a better price. I share that with the GC. That goes a long mile. From what I've seen before, that goes a long mile. Any scope changes, get it in writing. And we were talking about how important documentation are, and always know your walkaway point before even negotiating, before sitting on the table. What's my walkaway point? When does this job becomes more of a problem? So this is a tip that I was given a lot of years ago, and it's very good practice. Keep a bid log tracking all your proposals. So once you started getting into a rhythm, you have a template, and you started getting into a rhythm of bidding projects, and you started winning, hopefully, create a bid log, track all your proposals, when and why did I win this project? Why did I lose on this project? What was the actual cost? What was the estimated cost? And this will help you bid work more efficiently in the future. This is how you bid more work, is you know exactly where you need it, for example, to be in within a pricing range, and this will only benefit you for the future bidding accuracy and hopefully increase your win rate. Um, so here we were just speaking about the pre-qualifying. So this is something that's very important. You finished all of these stages, now you got into a rhythm and you're bidding work and things are much better. So what should we do from here? Build a cost database. Don't only rely on, for example, RS means or ENR, for example, for certain square footage prices. Try to create your own cost database, because that's going to help you bid more work. For example, if I'm bidding masonry work and I just did 12-inch CMU last year for a similar project, I can know exactly how much it costed from last year, and I could start working on the estimate, but only it will be better because I have a reference point and I'm tracking all of my data. Uh, the future, as everybody could see, the future is more going towards AI and all of that thing. So to help with that stuff, build your cost database, have a historical data where you track all of your costs, and also try to understand your productivity rates from project to project. Know what drive this project to be faster and how can you make it faster in the future, and this will only help you in bidding more work. We have a few industry resources, as I was just we were just speaking, and then get vendor quotes, get a lot of them. If I'm working on the glass, I'll get quantity. I don't want to say brand names, but I'll get different products that does the same thing. So you have to be aware of that. Build relationships with vendors as much as possible. They are very important, especially in this business, because of the materials. Once you're in a commercial space, materials are way more expensive, way more volatile, and we're gonna cover that moving forward. So I here we have a table, and this is just an example of productivity rates. And because we were talking about the commercial space, and we were talking about uh, we were talking about insurance, workers' comp, admin, overhead. So the way, well, this is one of many ways, but the way, for example, that I do it is I have, for example, the hourly rate of production. So one guy, 8 hours times the 35, and then I add the taxes, insurance, benefits to his hour, workers' comp, and then you get a total labor cost. You take the $52 an hour, and then this will help you estimate. So instead of, let's say, for example, getting a separate insurance quote or getting a project insurance specific quote, once you have it running, you can input these costs while you're estimating. So again, this is just an example. And like we were speaking before about the material and equipment, it differs. The material is way more. There is if I'm getting prefabricated concrete panels, for example, from New Jersey to here, I have to understand there is shipping involved, there is storage, there is handling, and These are very, very expensive, especially when you're dealing with that level of material. Equipment. Usually I wouldn't advise on owning in the beginning, but of course, once you start getting more work, you're getting more work, then there is, of course, the option to own equipment, to rent equipment, but that also comes with its liabilities and other factors. But of course, if the business is doing well enough, then it becomes important at that point. Here is just an industry standard. Just we wanted to speak about overhead and profit. This is just an overall, like this is just a standard, industry standard. You can do 100% overhead or profit. That's definitely your choice. For general overhead, 8 to 15, project overhead 2 to 5, profit 5 to 10, and then the total markup, that would be the combined everything just for easier percentages, that would be 15 to 30. But again, this is just an example, but we're trying here to say that you have to foresee all of these costs and you have to include them in your estimate. So now uh, estimation estimation tools and software. Again, from a person who used to do everything by hand, it hurts me a little bit speaking about these softwares. But again, earlier, as I mentioned, we have View 360, which is a takeoff tool. It comes with Dodge Construction Network. We definitely recommend using it. I use it on a daily basis. You have if on-screen takeoff, that of course is a subscription-based model, and then you have Bluebeam, and there is multiple takeoff softwares. Our advice is start with one, get comfortable with it, and then see how you advance based on your trade. Because we think I think that every takeoff software is good at a certain trade and not good at the other. And we were talking about also uh, we were talking about also the templates. Once you bid, once you start bidding work and you started getting into a rhythm, your proposals are going to be pretty much a template. It's gonna pick up. The same thing with your takeoffs. You're gonna have a template takeoff for the trade specific activities that you're doing. In the beginning, it does get a little bit too much when you're doing a takeoff, but then as you move forward, once you create these templates and these workflows as much as possible, it will only help you. It will only help you. Um, so just to summarize everything we spoke about before, this is just a checklist. We were speaking about that in page 3, I believe. A checklist is very important. I would recommend at least 72 hours before your bid. Scope review, go through everything, quantities, quadruple, triple check, multiple eyes on it. Make sure that your product labor is good. The materials, which we are going to speak about in a case study, the materials are you have the current quotes on them, the price is valid for the time that they need, and then also that you have everybody that you need on board. So, uh, the, here we're going to speak about contingencies and unforeseen costs. And while this is kind of something that's it's a big subject and risk assessment is a very big subject, but at least for the commercial projects, we have to agree that there is a lot of unforeseen events that happen. There is a lot of unfortunately miscommunication that happens sometimes. There is a lot of hidden conditions, design mistakes. So here we're going to try to speak about some of them. So the contingency is basically just a buffer that you add for risks that you know that are going to happen. And how do you know these risks? Like we spoke before, go to the site. If there's a walkthrough, go to the site, assess the site, look at the existing conditions. Don't just look at the plan. If the plan, for example, saying change ceiling tile, and then you see in existing that maybe half of it is in a good condition, then in that case, to cover yourself, either RFI it, with the architect, or maybe what you could do is you could say something in your proposal based on the walkthrough, the existing conditions 1 to 3. This is the scope that I included. And then we have, of course, change orders, and then force majeure, which is things unnatural. So we were just speaking about that. The way to identify potential risks as much as possible, of course, go to the site walkthrough, assess the site conditions, even if it's not in a walkthrough, even if you're busy, schedule the risks. Okay, if I'm doing concrete and it's being requested from me in December that I anticipate doing cold weather concrete, do I know, okay, I have to put maybe more guys, all of these things. What's the technical risks? Oh, this project is requiring me to use, for example, Procore or X, Y, and Z software, and I have to pay a certain amount of money. Did I include that? Uh, is the payment terms, are they working well for me? In the prevailing wage world, for example, the payment cycles were much further. So these are things, of course, that you have to assess. Here we have just a simple visual, just because I feel like I haven't done as many visuals in the ebook. This is just something where, okay, if I identified risk, then I don't have to carry as much contingencies, and then the higher the risk, the higher the contingency, of course. So, and this is, again, this is just an industry standard. This is just percentage-based contingencies. On new construction usually doesn't have a lot of problems, 3 to 5%. Renovations, just the regular renovation, not historical or museum renovations, 10%. Occupied renovation is 8 to 15, and then historical or specialty is 10 to 20%. Most important thing is material. In the commercial space, you could win a project in January, start on it in July. The material here depends, of course, on the trade, but the material here becomes a problem. You have to try as much as possible to anticipate how much, for example, that material is going to be in July. Well, what if something, for example, happened and for any circumstance the material went more than expected, then you have to build, and you can do that as a template. You have to build an exclusion list that, for example, that says we exclude the material escalation after a 60-day period, for example. And then, of course, and that's what we were speaking about. Everything has mitigation strategies. Everything you can risk mitigate if you're, so we were just speaking about including escalation clauses, define it very well in your exclusions, and ask the question. It's not a bad thing. Um, so here we're going to speak about some case studies, and I apologize for taking more time than I anticipated on this, but I hope it's not boring.
You're doing great, Mo.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
This is
Thank you, Ms.
extremely
Victoria.
helpful.
Thank you, Ms. Victoria. So we have here 3 case studies, and I think these kind of recap everything we spoke about in a better manner. So case case study 1, project office building interior renovation trade. The carpenter had a contract for 380,000, and what went wrong is the existing ceiling conditions were not as shown on drawings. Above ceiling MEP work was significantly different, requiring extensive rerouting and additional framing. The carpenter, he only included 3% contingency. That resulted in $85,000 in additional cost. It was a dispute between him and the GC, and it really affected him. So, what lessons we learned here? Always investigate existing conditions like we were speaking about before. During bidding and before bidding, include the specific language that does cover you, and then minimum on renovation work, the percentage should have been higher. He could have been at 6 or 7%. That would have helped him. Case 2 is a successful story, masonry contractor, and this is actually this is a real story. It's something that happened here. Uh, Project School Edition must complete by fall semester. Masonry contract 520,000 with schedule intensive clause. What went right? He anticipated because it's a school and because they want it done by the fall semester, and he communicated with the GC very, very well. He anticipated that there might be a schedule pressure. He included 12% contingency plus overtime. So when the GC requested from him to accelerate the schedule, he earned himself $25,000 bonus. He became the GC's preferred masonry sub on every project afterwards. So lessons learned, read between the lines as much as possible, especially on schedule requirements, price acceleration, and make sure that you're covering everything pricing wise. And you build relationships, believe it or not, you build relationships with GCs by being the easy one to work with, by fixing their problems, not fixing their problems, but I mean solving problems. So we have this problem and we need to finish this by X, Y, and Z time. What do we think? Okay, no, I think we can do it. We can do it based on one, two, three, and you give me the approach. Case three, which ties into the material escalation that we were speaking about. Pre-engineered, I'm sorry, a steel contractor. He had a proposal. He was awarded for $1.2 million. But from the bid time to when he got the project, and we spoke about that earlier with proposals and the proposal cycle, 8 months duration. So he got awarded 8 months after they started the work because he had to order the building and do all of that. Between bid and the pre-engineered fabrication, there was a 40% increase, and he had no escalation clause. He had to absorb $180,000 in material costs. So, of course, that actually made a significant loss to the company. So always, always, always consider material escalation, clauses about material, and know if a project is going to be, if I'm going to lock it in right now, it has to make sense 8 months after the fact. Um, so we were speaking, so kind of recap, we were speaking about how to build strategic GC relationships. What the things that we've seen on how to become like the preferred vendor and how to make everyone call you all the time for projects. Consistently deliver on what you promised. You promised, for example, a proposal on day one. Either you deliver on that promise or it impacts your reputation moving forward. Because from a pre-construction point of view, somebody could look at it and like, if this person doesn't answer, I can't get what I need from them. Okay, how would the construction be? It would be more of a problem. Solve problems. Be the one who's like, there is a problem. I'm letting you aware of it, and be the easy one to work with. Always communicate proactively, whether it's in pre-construction, during construction, or even after construction. And of course, pay promptly, something everyone has to do. And so few things also, networking strategies, like we spoke, the Dodge events. I've attended.
25, 10,
Yeah.
6,
Yeah.
22.
Sorry.
I don't know what that is, Mo. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
think
no, it's
someone's
fine.
Muted.
S-
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Go ahead.
so to help out, networking, very important. Join the associations. I've attended, since I started working here, I've attended every single event that was hosted by Dodge, and I can tell you that they do work very, very well, and you gain a lot from it. You gain a lot from it. So join construction associations as much as possible. Attend the site walkthroughs. It's good to, even if you think you're not going to be, for example, competitive on a project, but it's good to be in the walkthrough, to put your face in front of the GCs. Participate in any GC open houses, events, if they have a party. And this is very important. Most GCs, they are budgeting work for owners all year round. Offer to help with budgeting. So let's say you got three, four projects and you're on your way becoming a preferred vendor. You don't want to be the preferred vendor for one GC, for example. You want to be for multiple GCs. You can offer to help budgeting on future projects. So the common pitfalls to avoid, and we spoke about that earlier, don't underbid work, don't just agree to any scope. If somebody's trying to include scope that, for example, you haven't anticipated, don't include it. And of course, review contract terms and be very, very proactive in your pre-construction phase as well as your construction phase. Here's just these are just some again some and we spoke about that earlier, some insurance requirements, bonding, payroll. Depends, of course, if you're chasing public work or the regular open shop commercial work. There is, of course, warranties. Most of the GCs, they ask for warranties on products. It's usually an owner requirement. And then, of course, technology, which we covered. Start with a digital takeoff, get comfortable with it. After that, if you need a cloud software, whether it's Procore or Autodesk Build or FieldWire, then that is something also you do it as you advance. And then, like we spoke about, start with one, master it before you add more work. And then this actually is something that benefits you in getting more work. So uh, thank you very, very, very much, everybody, for the webinar. The key takeaways from all of this: your professionalism wins. Your accuracy is so critical in this business. Relationships do matter in everything, not just construction, but here it's way more. And risk management is essential. And commercial is a continuous cycle. You'll always, always, always learn more stuff. So thank you very
Hey
much.
Mo, before you
Yes.
finish, I
Mm.
have a favor to ask.
Yes.
This morning you told me about the last two Dodge events that you came to.
Yes.
And can you talk a bit more on why they were so helpful for you? And I know you just awarded someone a contract
Yes.
yesterday that you met at the
Yes.
last event.
Yes.
Can you just spend a
So,
minute on that, maybe?
yeah, of course. So the best part about the events, like I said, I've been to almost every single event, and my experience was amazing. I met a lot of amazing people, and there was some trades that applied to projects that I was working on. So I told them, okay, let's try to work together. I reached out, got their insurances, made sure everything is fine, pre-qualified them. I sent them the project. They had questions, which again shows good understanding. And after that, they were on time with everything. So that project, the church, it had two addendums. I sent them the addendum right away. He updated the pricing. He was fair. His proposal was so good, and he was a very nice gentleman. Everybody at the event was amazing, but these trades applied to a project that I was working on, and it thankfully it happened. And from there, and this is a networking event. From there, now I'm trying to work with him, obviously, on way many different projects because I met him, we succeeded, we networked, he got a project, he succeeded. Then when I think about a project again, I'm gonna obviously reach out to him because he does most of the stuff that we were speaking about it. And he was at the event and he networked with us. He presented himself, his company, what do they do, what states do they go to, and we did the same thing. I told him who was I and everything like that. And from there, it was good. And this was just the last event. Every event we do have either one or two success stories at least. Every event. So last event we had two. The event before that we had more than two. Uh,
You had a
uh,
lot.
Yes, yes. So every event, exactly. So every event we have been uh very, very happy with, and a lot of people that we do work with right now are also they do go to the events as much as they can, of course. So yeah, that's just a little bit overview about the events. They are amazing events. It's all about networking and who does what and what trades apply. And they're amazing. And like I said in the beginning, we really recommend you doing it because it helps us immensely. And even to win work, it helps immensely as well.
Good. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I have been checking the chat. I don't think anybody has any updated questions, but if you do, I will put my email in the chat and you can absolutely follow up with me. Thank you again, and thank you, Mo. I
Thank
owe
you
you.
so much. Thank
I
you
owe
so
you.
much, everybody. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everyone.
And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. We hope everybody's
Thank you.
successful and we're here for anything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Thank you.
Mo.
Bye.
Oh, you can hop off. I'm just putting my name in the
I'm trying
chat
to
for any
leave.
questions.
Yeah. Actually, Miss Victoria, I forgot to mention something, but it's fine.
You know what?
Really?
I can type it in the
Actually,
chat if you want.
no, it could be to everybody here. So there is actually, I wanted to mention that we do have a project upstate. It's in West Nyack. It's a Greek Orthodox church. Uh, it's going to be an extension to the project itself. If anybody is interested and they want to, it's okay for them to go there, then please be welcome to reach out. All trades, of
Okay.
course, are needed.
Yep, I'll
Flooring,
include it in the
concrete.
recap as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and it's
Like
open shop?
it is open shop. It's tax exempt because it's a church. So of course, we uh, we we uh, we want to help with anyway. So if there is anything,
Thank you.
let me know. Thank you so much again, Ms. Victoria, for this beautiful
Thanks,
webinar. And
Mo.
I'm sorry it took so long. I was practicing on making it
Oh, God, you
last
are
time, but
perfect.
I
You're
hope it was
perfect.
helpful. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thanks,
Thank
Mo. Bye.
thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good. Thank you.
Bye.